Hello and welcome to the series of instructional videos for pipeman drawing. In this first video we're going to speak about how to hold the sticks in traditional pipeman grip. We're going to look at a few exercises and rudiments that we can help to try and strengthen our new technique and our new grip. And at the end we're going to go over a cool little stick trick that I like to use for helping you hold the sticks in traditional pipeman grip. Firstly, we're going to start off by looking at how to hold the sticks in traditional pipeman grip. So firstly we're going to take the stick with our right hand. We're going to pinch the stick with our thumb and first finger about quarter of the way down the stick here. This is going to be your kind of pressure point of where you're holding the stick. So you want a bit of a medium pressure. You don't want it too soft, else the stick's going to kind of fall out your hands. Don't want it too hard, else you're going to be too tight and the stick's not going to be able to move. So put the remainder of the fingers on the bottom of the stick. So I'm going to wrap my middle finger and my ring finger on the stick. I like to just keep my pinky just kind of just off the stick there, but if you've got maybe smaller hands or you feel a little bit more comfortable, then you can kind of have your pinky there. That's just for a bit of support on the stick. So when we then come to start hitting the drum pad that we're using, I'm just using my fingers here to give it a little bit of extra power. So I'm kind of moving my fingers into my palm here, and then you'll notice that I'm not letting go of the stick with my fingers. I'm keeping my fingers on the stick, and that's going to help me try and control the stick a little bit more. Okay, so when I do that from this angle, most of my power is coming from my arm and a little bit of my wrist as well. And then as you can see, hopefully underneath, I'm just getting that extra bit of control there on my stick. This does one of two things. So it stops the stick from kind of bouncing out of control in your hand. So we're going to keep that under there. And then also, when we kind of develop this technique a little bit further, it's going to help with a little bit of control and speed. If you notice here on my right hand, I've got a little gap between my thumb and first finger. That's just going to let the stick naturally bounce. So we really want to harness the natural bounce of the stick here. Don't want to be too tight with our hand, else we're going to kind of deaden that stick. Obviously we don't want it too loose because that's going to be not very controlled. So everything's kind of working in harmony here, trying to harness the bounce of the stick. If you notice, my arm is coming up in a nice straight line from the tip of the stick all the way to my elbow. And I'm really kind of exaggerating this, but as I'm going up, I'm letting my fingers kind of control the bounce of the stick a little bit more. That takes a little bit of practice, but definitely that's something I'd recommend trying to incorporate into your playing. So if you notice exactly like I'm doing here, just a few taps, just to kind of get the control of the stick. What we don't want to be doing is having any sort of dead strokes or anything. We want a nice clear bounce from your pad. Again, just trying to let the stick bounce as much as possible. Just kind of establish a nice comfortable grip in the right hand. So now moving on to the left hand. I found this a little bit more tricky when I was starting out to kind of grasp the grip of the left hand. So basically what you want to do for starting out, you take the stick holding like this, and we're going to place it in this little groove between the thumb and first finger there. So what we want is the thumb to run down the stick. Try not to get into a habit of going over the stick like this. What can happen is it'll kind of trap the stick and you won't get a very natural bounce coming off there. On the other side, we don't want the thumb to be kind of falling off the stick here. You want a nice firm kind of grip going down the stick there. Then we're going to again take our ring finger and our pinky and just ever so slightly curve that round, so we're kind of holding the stick with these two, or supporting the stick with these two fingers here. The main motion in our left hand here is a combination of three things. So we're going to be lifting our arm up to get a little bit of height. We're going to be using our wrist to then kind of angle towards the stick, and then finally, which is the hardest part, is to try and get the thumb to then control the taps on the left hand. So a lot more difficult to get a sound out of this than it is to the right, but you just need to persevere and try and kind of match all this movement up there. So you're getting your arm up, your left wrist here is going to kind of rotate towards the pad, and then finally the control is all coming from your left thumb there. Okay, so the movement in the thumb there, when I'm bringing my arm up using my wrist, and then I'm really kind of just using my thumb to flick downwards almost towards my palm there. When I do this, I'm not feeling any sort of tension in my in the palm of my hand, in the back of my hand. I'm just keeping it as relaxed as possible and almost trying to throw up the stick. So I'm kind of throwing it up and then my thumb is then moving the stick down and kind of counteracting, starting from the thumb. We want to just kind of practice getting a few taps coming off just from the thumb, turning my wrist a little bit more there, feeling a bit more power coming from my wrist. And then to get a bit more height, I'm just going to be lifting up my arm, and again, all controlled by my thumb on the left hand there. So now to practice both hands together, we're going to do 8 taps on each hand. Okay, so we're going to do 8 taps with the right hand, 8 taps with our left hand. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, left, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So a few things I'm going to be kind of focusing on here is trying to really hit the centre of the pad with both of my sticks here, which will take a little bit of practice. And then also everything that I've kind of been talking about, I'm really trying to focus on in both hands. So left hand, nice controlled thumb movement in my arm, wrist and thumb. Then on the right hand, kind of trying to get my fingers underneath, nice straight arm. We're also trying to focus on the sound and the spacing between each of the notes here. So what we want to be aiming for at home is trying to get all of those notes spaced the same, sounding the same, and the same weight in both of our hands. Very important that we try and achieve that same balanced weight with our right hand and our left hand. The next exercise that we're going to look at to try and strengthen that technique a little bit more is one called Mummy Daddy. So Mummy Daddy, we're doing 2 taps on each hand. 2 taps on the right, 2 taps on the left. So again, we want to try and harness that natural bounce of the stick, controlled by the thumb in the left and the fingers in the right. So what will happen is you get a bit more comfortable with the grip of the stick. You're going to be able to get a little bit faster. When I start to get a little bit faster, I'm really letting my sticks bounce here off the pad. So when you're at this speed, you want to really just let the sticks bounce on the pad, but obviously we're going to be controlling with the right fingers and the left thumb. If you notice, most of the momentum and the power here is coming actually from my arms, and the control is coming from my fingers and my thumb. Again, really focusing on the middle of the pad there, want to be nice and accurate. So then notice I'm slowing down just to get a little bit of practice on my control. And then I can speed back up again. So the next rudiment we're going to look at is called the Paradiddle. Okay, so this is going to help a little bit more coordination, putting both of the hands together now. So the sticking for the Paradiddle, on the right hand, we're going to go right, left, right, right. And on the left hand, left, right, left, left. Okay, so you're going right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. So nice and consecutively, just trying to, again, try and focus on the sound of the notes. A nice clear rebound, nice clear notes coming off the pad. We don't want to be kind of buzzing away at the pad or hitting double strokes. We want nice clear notes coming out here. It's going to really help the coordination, switching between hands. So right, left, right, right, left, right, left. Again, just trying to look at the middle of the pad when we're doing this. Noticing fingers in the right and thumb in the left. Again, when we start getting a little bit faster, we're going to try and harness the bounce again with the sticks. Controlling that. You notice when I'm getting a little bit faster, I'm starting to go a little lower as well, so that's going to make the rebound a little bit easier. At this point, we're really trying to look for nice even notes. again, great way to practice this. Speed it up and then slow it right back down again. You can also try and do this through a metronome. So finally, to finish off, what we're going to do now is just a stick trick I like to show my new students. It's just to try and get used to picking up the sticks with the new traditional grip. So what I'll do, I'll play through the exercise a couple of times and then I'll break it down a little bit slower. So first of all, we're going to hit the pad with the right stick. Put that under the left arm here, then we're going to let go of that stick, hit with the left, swap over to the right, catch it in the right hand, right, and then here, we're going to grab the stick from under our arm. Notice my back of the hand is pointing away from me here, because I flick this out, and then that rhythm at the end, left, right, left. So when we're underneath our left hand and grabbing, really want to try and pick the stick with the thumb and the first finger. So we're ready to play, and notice how I'm flicking outwards when I come over here, and then ready to play with the left hand there. Thumb on top, fingers kind of supporting at the sides and underneath here. So that again, from here, grabbing the stick, flick out to finish. So from the start, nice and slow, we've got right, under, left, swap, right, left, right, left, right, under, left, swap, right, left, right, left, again. So what we're trying to achieve here with this exercise is to try and really get used to picking up the sticks really naturally. I was just picking up my sticks off the table. I'm ready to play nice and comfortable, relaxed in my new traditional grip. Thanks for watching, and I hope these tips helped you.